is wrong. Revolution is not just impossible but immoral, because we are sure that it will result in misery for people without any positive outcome. So while Hallaq's argument, or whatever he is going to do, should be contextualized in this broad background, in a sense. And part of title is The Impossible State: Islam, Politics and Modernities. Moral. So I don't know whether this moral predicament belongs to moral predicament of Islam and politics as well, or is just the moral predicament of modernity. But Wael Hallaq is, in a sense, a postmodernist, and his argument should be understood in the context of the debate between modernity versus postmodernity. So at least partially, postmodernist movements emerge out of the collapse of communism and the collapse of the revolutionary movements within the Western world. So the struggle against modernity no longer was possible in the form of a revolutionary struggle. So modernity can't be overthrown in total. So resistance against modernity became a single issue movement. And that's what postmodernism is about. So postmodernism is basically you concede that it is impossible to overcome modernity, even though modernity is at least partially morally objectionable. So but since it is impossible to overthrow the modernity, so what remains is to develop partial critiques of modernity, moral critique of modernity, which will practically speaking either would lead to passivity, or if it does lead to activism, that activism would be in the form of single issue movements. So there's no systematic threat to modernity. So postmodernity is basically exhaustion of the revolutionary struggle against modernity, and it is also partially exhaustion of modernity itself. So those who think that these postmodern movements are some sort of revolutionary ideals, so there's a lot of moralization, a lot of moralization, or a lot of its results are like can be contradictory. It can lead to moralization, it can lead to passivity, it can lead to hardcore realism as well, which is one strand in the single issue movements. So you either have a gay movement or environmentalism, etc., but there's no thought of posing a systematic threat to modernity, even if from a left modernist perspective, as it was with Marxists and communists, because communist struggle against modernity was never a total civilization struggle, because they shared common roots in Enlightenment philosophies with rightist or with the Western modernity. Anyway, and obviously we can quiz the impossible state. And by the way, impossible state would be a